Hey guys, welcome back to Growth Vertical. For those of you who are new, I'm Neil Patel and I'm a digital marketer based in the UK. Today we're going to change it up once again because I know you guys are all about the growth in this community. We all tend to read books, we all tend to listen to audibles, and that gave me a bit of an idea because usually when we do that, we tend to recommend them to people. So I thought, why not recommend whatever I've read in terms of growth, business, and marketing, and I recommend them to the growth community here. So on that note, I'll be working on some form of series. Maybe I'll call it the Growth Vertical Book Club or something, and I'll review and summarize a few books that I've read, or maybe some audibles I listened to, and for the ones that I especially recommend to the growth community, and they're gonna be situated around business, growth, and marketing. So getting down to it, today I'm gonna be reviewing the first book, The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Escape the 9-to-5, live anywhere, and join the new rich. Now, this book has been on my to-do list or my to-read list for such a long time, and a lot of people have told me to push it up my list. And to be honest, I'm so grateful that I did because this book is truly phenomenal. Now, I've only read this book once so far, and I've got to say it's awesome throughout. It actually touches on quite a few ideas, it explores quite a few circumstances, quite a few frameworks. And what I like about it is that the book itself can be treated in multiple ways, right? It takes into account, like I mentioned, multiple circumstances. There's not one idea that everyone should follow, but it's the fact that you can interpret things from this book and then go ahead and execute on it. And it will be tailored to what you actually want and what your goals are going to be. So I think that there's one big meaning that Tim Ferriss pushes throughout this book, right? And it's a common reoccurrence across every chapter. And it's the fact that he says that, real power is the ability to choose. Now that's powerful in itself, right? I know a lot of people who say that, they just want to go about working for themselves. They want to work and open up their own business, etc. And they don't want to work the 9-to-5, right? Yes, it's a common theme everywhere we go in this day and age, especially with social media. But what people have to take away from something like this is that the true meaning behind what this book actually tries to push is that the real ability, right, the real power is in that ability that you have the final say at the end of the day. So just remember that. Real power is the ability to choose. And I think this is one of the key meanings. If you take anything away, right, from this book, this has got to be one of the main things that you can take away from this book, and it's going to be phenomenal for you going forward. So what's incredible is that Tim Ferriss has really created this movement around every individual can actually go ahead and design their own lifestyle, which is amazing to see, right? You can even look at businesses nowadays, and he's really created this movement around the fact that businesses don't need people, they don't need offices, and they don't need a workforce within that office to actually go ahead and scale a business. There are so many ways that we could take advantage of the current infrastructure we have and the current technological advancements that we've made to actually go ahead and create a business and scale it to the point where we can have an automated income to some degree and also live a better lifestyle overall, where we have less stress. There's not as much micromanagement because we don't have as many employees, right? We don't need to look at all those moving parts, and we know micromanagement is never a good thing to some degree. And it's amazing that you can do this just based off how skillful you are and what you actually as a person already hold. So fear is a good thing, right? And it's actually not about just finding a shortcut or finding a magic formula, because there are none, right? It's about sticking to a process, using a framework, using some form of best practice to get there at the end and making sure that it happens. And you've got to use fear to do this, right? You've got to exploit that and ensure that you are taking every step, you're making every move or taking every action to actually go ahead and drive forward with your plan. And I think that's one of the ideas that this book actually goes into detail of, because you can design your lifestyle accordingly, but only if you're willing to put the effort in first. So with that final idea, that's more on the other side of the spectrum. So if you want to travel and you want to get paid for it, it's very much possible, and failure is only going to get you there faster, right? So don't be fearful about failure. And I think that one of the things that the book pushes is that you may be fearful when you have to do things differently, but that's just simply because you're uncomfortable. So how we actually view fear is what we should be focusing on, right? We should be trying to change how we view fear. We should look at it differently and try to exploit the fact that we're feeling that, right? To use it to propel us forward and gain momentum to make that first move because it's so uncomfortable, but that should be driving us forward towards making that goal achievable. So to punch in more detail, Tim Ferriss provides this framework, like a successful framework that you can use to actually go ahead and improve what you are looking to do. So he has 4 phases that you have to go through. Number 1 is dreamlining. Number 2 is elimination. Number 3 is automation. And number 4 is liberation. If you use these 4 phases and you actually implement them correctly and you follow the steps that he provides, you can actually go ahead about doing things for yourself in the most effective manner and actually realizing what you thought you wouldn't be able to realize before. So one idea that I always push to a lot of people is, or a ton of people out there, is that you should be doing what excites you. And I'm actually glad that Tim Ferriss actually pushes this idea in his book as well, right? The fact that he actually talks about, and goes into a lot of detail about the fact that you shouldn't be working for work's sake, and he calls it the W4W, right? Life just doesn't make sense that way. People shouldn't have to be doing that. And I think it's incredible because right now a lot of people are stuck in that sort of repetitive environment, or that repetitive flow where their passions are suppressed, their ideas are suppressed, their creativity is suppressed, and they haven't really had the time to realize at all, how to best experience the world. And that's just a shame, to be honest. And people have been almost pushed to adopting that sort of traditional mindset, and that's the problem here. This book really explores that, and to be honest, I was super happy about that. So now I want to go over the top 4 reasons as to why this book actually resonated with me. And the reason why is because I kind of need to condense it down, right? I can't just pick everything out the book. So I want to narrow it down to what I've actually gone ahead and implemented and what's worked for me so far, what I've taken on board. And here are the top principles, right? So the first is that this book actually went ahead and showed me what productivity really means, right? By introducing the idea of, Pareto's principle, going through it in a more practical manner. So that's known as the 80-20 rule. So where you put in, like, for example, 20% of effort and getting out 80% of the results, where you should be focusing your energy on a daily basis on what tasks which yield the highest value or the highest income, for example, and offsetting things like checking your email, which is very low value at some point. Yes, there's emergencies, but there should be a time and place where you check your email, and you should have a particular slot. And part B of this is Parkinson's law, right? Where you have to deliver something. So you have a deliverable that you actually push through under a specific time constraint. So you constrain yourself over time, right? And you have a particular time slot in which you deliver. And to be honest, this has helped me balance between working hard and working smart, where I've managed to outsource a couple of things, but also where helped me realize where I should be spending time, where I shouldn't be, and for example, not checking emails all day, and as a marketer, not spending too much time in just the data and almost freakishly sitting there getting analysis paralysis, right? So this book definitely pushes through a good idea around productivity and what it really means. The second reason is that you can actually go ahead, and there are various ways of setting up an automated income. Nowadays, we all have skills, right? We all have experience in a particular field, and we've actually gone ahead and improved our skill. That could be a hobby or anything, but the fact that you can write about it, you can sell a book, or you can set up a course online with the current infrastructure is so easy nowadays. And yes, it does take time and effort, but it's so much more accessible, where you can go ahead and set up that automated income based off of something you already have. And on top of that, if you don't want to do it based around the skill, you can always look for doing it with an e-commerce product. There are a ton of ideas out there, and that's why I thought that this second reason definitely hit hard. So the third reason is what it means to actually be part of this new movement called the new rich, and not be part of the old rich who work basically until they retire and then enjoy themselves. But in fact, actually being able to think like the new rich, right? To think about different issues like these guys do. And to be honest, you think about issues that you're faced with in a completely different way, where you're able to solve problems more effectively, more efficiently, and you're actually able to go ahead and work on scaling, for example, your business or your activity to a point where you don't even need to be working on the business, because you've set up those processes, those policies, those internal frameworks and best practices with your team or your outsourced team, so that you don't have to work on it as much, which is truly amazing. The fourth and final reason is the fact that Tim Ferriss provides case studies. Now this is amazing because it provides information on practical levels, and I think that's absolutely sick, to be honest, because to be honest, I just realized I said to be honest like 50 million times on the camera. Well, anyway, but I'm getting at to multiple situations is what Tim Ferriss accounts for, right? Takes into account different contextual settings. So he provides examples on how you would set up an e-commerce product where someone who wants to actually go ahead and escape the 9 to 5 where they're working in-house, right? He's just that the fact that he provides you with practical level examples is actually wicked in my opinion, to be honest, because it's very different to see things from one point of view, but he shows you from his perspective on how he done it, but also how different people from different areas of the world have done it. And it really pushes home because you could be working on e-commerce, on marketing, on your SaaS business or whatever, but he provides you with the resources and tools as well in this book, links and everything, so it can help you get by, right? It can help you not even get by, but actually help you push forward with your idea and actually come out in front. So he really sets you up, or tries to set you up for success, right? Because in the end, it definitely, I say tries to, because he's essentially helping you, and it's up to you on whether you put the effort in at the end of the day. So that's the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And I'm gonna do this thing where I give a book or an audible or a resource a growth rating so that you guys can see what I might think of how impactful it could be for the next person reading it or listening to it, and for how impactful it could be for the growth community, right? So this is the first book that I'm actually going to be reviewing on the channel, but I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 5 out of 5 just simply because of how hard it hit me. I'd actually recommend this book to anyone who is not just looking for, the change in lifestyle, but also that they're looking to decrease their sort of work hours and also increase, like away from their 9 to 5 and increase, the hours behind experiencing things that are more exciting in life, right? So going ahead and actually escaping the 9 to 5 world to a certain degree, as the book says, but also in a more, I guess, personal manner, right? So actually going ahead and aspiring to sort of take charge and also take the next step, design your lifestyle and make that decision, as we talked about in the very beginning, have that control of the decision to actually go ahead and make an impact, right? And I've actually used some of these, like I mentioned, around the productivity rules and stuff. And to be honest, right now I'm using some of these principles and they're working a charm for me, right? They're working a treat, and it's been good, right? Because I'm able to actually separate what's working, what's not. I'm able to identify where I should be spending my time, where I shouldn't be, and what I actually want, right? So I'm working towards those goals, and I think you guys can do that as well. So there you have it, guys. If you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button and you subscribe to the channel. If you have any ideas about any future videos, drop them in the comment section below. If you have any books and audibles you'd like to share with the growth community that would be useful, drop them in the comment section below as well. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Take it easy. See ya.